Hello again and welcome. Michael Pizzola here with a short video for you. It's a video form of my value capping rant. And today is April 15th, 2011. I want to thank you sincerely, those of you who got my last rant. I'm recovering from some pretty severe scorpion stings. One of the reasons I'm doing this in video form rather than typing it out, because quite frankly, it hurts right now to type too much. So I wanted to make a quick video for you on some of the Derby prep races and how I go about approaching them. Now, you know, in the last rant, I did a video podcast called The Biggest Difference. And basically the biggest difference between the hobbyist at this game and the person who wants to make profits at the game tends to be one wants to figure the races out and treat it like a puzzle, and the other is looking for clear opportunities, simple, clear, and obvious races where the overlay, the potential value investment just seems very, very clear. So the way I approach the Derby preps and the Derby and the Preakness and the Belmont Stakes and all the Breeders' Cup races is how I approach every race. Ab uno disce omnes. From one, learn everything. Okay? How you do anything is how you do everything. The point is, there are races. They are races in a river of races. Now, the difference, okay, between that race and a maiden claimer is just the number of zeros in the purse. Really, oh, yes, there are better horses who can run faster times and potential champions and all of that. Of course, I understand that. I appreciate it. As a fan of the sport, oh, I love it. And I love watching those races. As an investor, there may or may not be opportunities. Now, as I speak to you in the evening of April 15th, I know there are two big Derby prep races coming up tomorrow. The Bluegrass Stakes at Keeneland and the Arkansas Derby at Oaklawn. Now, here's the problem. You know, one of the great advantages we have in this game is that we choose. We, horse players, value capping investors, get to choose which races we will invest in and which we will just leave alone. Okay, that's a tremendous advantage. So if our attitude is, hey, it's the Arkansas Derby, I've got to bet it. Why? It's the Bluegrass. I love the Bluegrass. I've got to bet it. Why? Bet it if there's an opportunity and not if there's not. So let me show you what Black Magic did, and those of you who may have stumbled upon this video by accident, we're talking about Black Magic, the ultimate handicapper software. Okay, we're not talking about whatever other kind of Black Magic there may be. Okay, and let me bring up the software. Here we are, beautiful Black Magic. And you'll notice that tomorrow there are 215 races that are available to bet in Las Vegas. Now, you know, that's kind of a daunting and overwhelming task. Luckily, I have these things called portfolios. Now, I've already selected 4 races. 2 of them I wanted to talk with you about, the Bluegrass and the Arkansas Derby, and 2 that I found just doing a little simple clicking around and of the races. So let's look at the Toyota Bluegrass Stakes. Gosh, it's hard to call them by a corporate sponsor name, but there you go. The first thing you notice is that these are my odds lines. The odds line that Black Magic makes, the contention line, which is how the software thinks the public will treat the race, and the morning line. And you may think, woohoo, a 12-to-1 morning line is on top. Joe's blazing Aaron. Well, you know, on the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 horses. There are 7 horses above random, ranging from 6-to-1 to 11-to-1. Kind of a weak line. That's a lot of horses to deal with. Plus, when you look at that distinction between the 6-1 on the top and the 7-1 fourth, there's not a lot there. Another little danger sign is that Santiva, the 3-horse morning line favorite, who's, yes, on a layoff, I don't think should be 3-1, but neither do I think should be 11-1. It's a big question mark. In other words, in this race, I don't have a whole lot of clarity. Now, there may be scratches tomorrow. The public may do something strange with the betting, and it may leave an opportunity. But, someone would just say, well, why don't you just box the 4, 9, 2, 6? And, well, if the prices are enough, perhaps. But when you look, there's the 4-horse at 12-1 morning line, the 6-horse at 10-1, the 11-horse at 10-1, the 12-horse at 12-1. It's a big mess. Now, I wish I could tell you, and if I were interested in being a quote-unquote expert or guru at this game, I would say, oh, well, here's why Joe's Blazing Aaron should win because he's on. I don't know, and that's very complicated. Similarly, the Arkansas Derby. Now, this is a different thing. This is a race that may be too clear. Now, look, wizards and value cappers and handicappers. I love betting overlays and good priced horses. I also love betting against vulnerable favorites. Here's the deal. Sometimes favorites are legitimate. And sometimes you don't bet against them. And obviously you can't bet them. Now, no surprise to anyone who's been following this, the Factor is right on the top of the Black Magic odds line. Plus, it has a gap going down from 5-1 to 9-1. And that's tremendous. Now, we know we're not going to get 5-1 on the Factor. For criminy's sakes, he's 7-5 morning line. But does that mean he's an automatic? You stay away from those? No. I love to look to see if those horses are vulnerable. Now, in this case, what's vulnerable? In the Rebel, at Oaklawn on March 19th, he just ran away with it. He and Matt Garcia just ran away. This horse is 3 out of 4. The race was not all that taxing for a 3-year-old. The numbers are nice and consistent. In other words, there's nothing to say, if the horse just had a really difficult last race or hard last race. But now, after I get past that on the odds line, what am I going to do? 9-1, 9-1, 10-1, 11-1, 11-1, 12-1, and it's a mess. Another race. Unfortunately, Wizards, I have to tell you, I'm not interested in betting. We'll watch it, and like that. Now, let me show you 2 races that I found. And, of course, it all depends on how the track comes up and the odds and all. And Woodbine 6, this is a lowly $10,000 claimer. But one of the first things I noticed is that it's a highly pressured race. That means lots of speed up front, right? So we look at acupressure, which attempts to use both position and velocity. And, of course, it's highly pressured, and we see 2 closers, the 5 and the 1. Let's go take a look at that odds line. And you see the 5 and the 1 are both in the arc. They're both above random. The 1, 4-1 morning line, the 5, 8-1 morning line. Both listed as closers. Now, just as in the Arkansas Derby, you see that gap between 4-1 and 6-1 like the Factor had. But here, I think this favorite looks a little vulnerable. Or if one of the favorites, Fire Chief, who's on top. If you notice, he finished second at 23.5, got claimed for 16,000. Last race ran at 20,000. Now is dropping to 9,500. No, thank you very much. I would rather look at a horse like one of these closers, the 5-horse, and, come here. Interesting thing about this horse, notice all of the closes. 7-2, 7-3, 10-7, 3-3, 10-6-4. And then it gets laid off from December to April. Guess what it does? Flashes early speed and relaxes. Beautiful change in running style. Today it's a closer. I think that this horse should be, 9-1 perhaps, 10-1. And at that price, if I get that price, I'll probably take a shot at it. Certainly will hook it up with the 1 horse and exactas, and the rest will be determined by the board. A similar situation is in the Pimlico 10th race. Once again, we see a little gapped horse, the 4-horse Miss Fleetfoot. And you notice how it goes 3-1, down to 4-1. There's a little gap. But this horse is 8-1 on the contention line and 8-1 on the morning line. Now, this race is another highly pressured race. Let's go down and look at the acupressure. And acupressure tells us there is one closer in the race, and that is the 4, Miss Fleetfoot. Notice all the horses at the first and second call vying, again, according to the projection, vying for the lead. We see that Black Magic puts the favorite, number 2, as vulnerable, having the wrong running style. So, you know, all of that is very cool. Let's take a quick look at the 4-horse. Let's zoom in here. Nothing much wrong with it. Here's the reason it won't get bet. It was claimed at $7,500 from Scott Lake on February 10th. And then it ran and actually won a non-winners 2 allowance. Finished 3rd in a non-winners 2 allowance last time. Really nothing wrong with this horse. Beautiful closes and the kind of horse that I think, you know, has a chance at a good price. Now, again, it will depend upon the price and everything else. So there's a real contrast. And I know, oh, by the way, this is a big race, huh? This is the Primonetta Stakes at Pimlico. I know it as the 10th race at Pimlico. So Wizards and those of you listening to the rant, you know, I don't not play the big races because I don't like to. I love when I have an opportunity in them because there's a lot of, well, quite frankly, amateur and hobbyist money in there. But these are the bread and butter races, the last 2 that I've just shown you. Now, I don't know if they'll win. I don't know if they'll finish in front of the ambulances. All I know is if I get a decent price on either of those horses, I'll make an investment. Don't care if they win or lose. That's the investment. The time to celebrate is when you make the investment because you've got a good value investment. So I guess the takeaway message in this is don't bet a race just because you're presented with it. Oh, it's a big race, I have to bet it. Rather, find the races that really speak to you, that you have a good feel for, that presents opportunities and patterns you've seen before, and you know can produce some good, solid investment. And as I urge the Wizards, those who use the Black Magic Ultimate Handicapping software, the best bets, the very best bets, are those that seem simple and clear and obvious to you, the kind that you can see in a matter of seconds. So I hope you'll get some benefit out of this video. I hope you'll take the message to heart. I hope you'll excuse my appearance. Again, I'm recovering from those nasty little stings. But I did want to share with you some thinking about the Bluegrass, the Arkansas Derby, and a couple of nice little opportunities, potential opportunities for tomorrow, April 16th, 2011. And remember, it's not about these particular races or how they work and, oh, it won, so Black Magic must be great, or Pizzola is a genius. Well, no. Or, oh, they lost. Black Magic is terrible. Pizzola is an idiot. Well, no, maybe the last part. But I wanted you to see the process, and I wanted you to get maybe a little insight into what makes a race clear, what makes it potentially valuable. So again, thank you. Thank you for Wizards for all your support. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And until next time, this is Michael Pizzola saying, let the bet make you. See you soon.